like a song. I'm brighter my day. Who'd have believed that you were part of the dream? Now it all seems like years away. You know I can't smile without you. Oh no, I can't smile without you. I can't laugh, I can't sing. I'm finding it hard to do anything, and I feel sad when you're sad. Oh no, I feel glad when you're glad. If you only knew what I'm going through, I just can't smile without you.
Hello everyone, I am women's football analyst Jacob Bernstein and welcome to my match review of Tottenham Hotspur Women v Aston Villa Women. Tottenham beat Aston Villa 2-1 in a cracking game which saw Spurs come from behind late on and score a last minute winner through Olivia Holt to secure their 6th WSL win of the season from their first 10 games. So let's review it. I think it's important to kind of split the game into two sections almost, the first 65 minutes and then the rest of the game. The first 65 minutes of the game, I think Spurs were dominant overall. I think Villa had a couple of early chances in the game, shots that were saved well by Lisa Kopp, but on the whole, Spurs dominated possession. It felt like they could potentially go on and win the game, and the biggest chance of the game fell to Jessica Naz. Olivia Holt put her through and Jess Naz looked through on goal but put the shot wide. It was a 0.66 XG shot, which just shows the quality of the chance. But then on 65 minutes the game changed almost and the game came to life. Oceania Deslanders, Villa's defender, got sent off for a second yellow card. It was a really rash challenge on Olivia Holt. And at that point, you're thinking Villa have got 10 players. Can Spurs go on and win the game? A few minutes later, there was an unfortunate injury for Spurs. Jess Naz went down injured. It looked like it could have been a knee injury because she almost went down off the ball and she had to be stretchered off. We are awaiting news on the severity of the injury and wishing Jess Naz all the best in her recovery, whatever the severity is. On 83 minutes, I was fearing because Villa went 1-0 up against the run of play almost. A wonderful ball over the top from Rachel Maltby set up Kirsty Hansen. Kirsty Hansen had the composure to score despite pressure from Molly Bartrip, and that's Kirsty Hansen's 4th WSL goal of the season. Kirsty Hansen's been absolutely brilliant for Villa. She's the only player this season for Villa who scored more than one WSL goal this season. But then Spurs had such good mentality to get back in the game. I noted kind of in terms of seconds that were scored because Villa scored on 83 minutes and 15 seconds. The kickoff from Spurs was on 84 minutes and 30 seconds. And then Spurs had equalised on 84.59, so 29 seconds after the restart. Amanda Nill then got the ball on the left, crossed it into Beth England, whose glancing header found the back of the net. And it's such great mentality, firstly, to go behind and then score, but also the Spurs players all ran back to the halfway line. Lena Gunning-Williams took the ball out of the net. Beth England did a bit of a badge tap as she ran back to the halfway line. And I love that mentality of, okay, we've just equalised, but actually the opposition have got 10 players. We can actually go on and win the game. And we did in fine fashion. It felt like there was potentially a goal coming. The pressure was mounting in the 8 additional minutes of added time. And in the 4th minute of additional time, Spurs did find the winner. Drew Spence picked up the ball and played a perfect through ball to Olivia Holt. It was almost like a deft no-look through ball to Olivia Holt, who was through on goal and had the composure to score past Sabrina D'Angelo. And it was amazing scenes at full time. I really liked it that Drew Spence and Evelina Simonin almost ran off together. You could see just before Olivia Holt scored, Drew Spence's arms went up in the air, hoping that she had scored. And Olivia Holt's celebration was brilliant, sliding to the ground. And it was just incredible. A massive win for Spurs. As I said, I think mentality to come back from 1-0 down was huge. Looking at some of the stats, Olivia Holt, I wanted to look at specifically. because she scored the winner, but she was also standout. She had 6 shots in the match, 5 shot creating actions, 4 progressive carries. She had 0.7 expected assists. All of those stats that I've mentioned before are the most in the game. And that's now 3 WSL goals for Olivia Holt. I also wanted to shout out the defence, who might not get as much praise because obviously we end up winning the game and not keeping a clean sheet. But Molly Bartrip came into the side. She's obviously been injured, but this was her first start of the season. And I thought she was brilliant alongside Claire Hunt, who's been brilliant all season, really. Claire Hunt had 6 interceptions in the game, which was the most out of any player. Molly Bartrip had 4 tackles, which was the joint most out of any player. And I think there now starts to be competition for places in defence for Spurs. Toka Koga we saw drop out of the starting 11 for the first time this season. I'm not entirely sure why. Maybe it was just a rotation to allow Molly Bartrip to have minutes. But I think that shows real strength and depth for Spurs, that we now have 3 really good centre-back options. And lastly, before going into the player ratings, I did want to touch on Martin Ho, because I think Martin Ho has such a good connection with the fan base at the moment. I was at Brisbane Road on Sunday, and I sit in the season ticket section. And before the game, this was 15-20 minutes before the game, Martin Ho came up to the season ticket section and came up to everyone that was sitting in the reception area, took photos, signed autographs, had conversations. He really took the time to kind of speak with everyone. And at the end of the match, he turned around to the fans and gave a massive fist pump. And I loved the passion and the connection that he has with the fans. And it's a real breath of fresh air. And I think it's testament to him and also to Spurs as a football club for hiring Martin Ho. I know kind of Vinay Venkatesham has been a really important person in pushing the women's team, and I'm really glad that we've got Martin Ho this season. In terms of where that leaves Spurs, Spurs are now on 19 points with 1 game to go until the winter break, which marks halfway in the season. Spurs only managed to get 20 points in the whole of last season, which just shows how impressive we've been, or how unimpressive we were last season, maybe. We're currently level on points with Arsenal on 19, 1 point behind United, who are on 20 points, and we do play United this weekend coming. And we're also 2 points behind Chelsea, because Chelsea did lose to Everton over the weekend, which was a shock. So to be in such a good position nearly halfway into the season is really impressive. But let's get into my player ratings. So let's get into my player ratings. In my match preview, I predicted what the starting lineup was going to be, and there was one difference in what my predicted versus what was the starting lineup. As I mentioned previously, Molly Bartrip came in for Toka Koga. In Martin Ho's press conference on Friday, he did mention that there are a couple of injuries. Katinka Tandberg has picked up an injury which will rule her out until after the winter break, which is a shame because she's been really good this season. And then also Olga Aston and Charlie Grant are injured, which meant Spurs lined up with Lisa Kopp in goal, who I'm going to give a 7. Lisa Kopp didn't need to do too much. She made a couple of key saves at the beginning of the match, but I think Spurs dominated the game, really. So that meant that Lisa Kopp didn't have too much to do, especially in the second half. In the game, she made 3 saves, most of those saves I think came early through a couple of Villa chances. She was unlucky with the goal. I think it was a good finish from Kirsty Hansen to have the composure to score. Amanda Nilden at left back, I'll go with a 7. I thought Amanda Nilden was solid. She had a good game, and ultimately she ended up getting that assist, quality cross in for England's equaliser. The defensive centre-back partnership of Molly Bartrip and Claire Hunt, I'm going to give them both 8s. As I mentioned before, I thought they were both absolutely quality. There was a moment where one of the Villa attackers looked like they were through. I think it might have been Ebony Salmon, and Molly Bartrip made a heroic challenge, and that's something we've seen from Claire Hunt and Toka Koga this season, and is amazing to see Molly Bartrip as the vice-captain come back into the side after injury. Remember, Molly Bartrip did play every WSL minute last season, so it's a shame that she's missed nearly half the season. But as I said before, it's good that we now have 3 centre-back options, and 8 for Claire Hunt as well. Ashley Neville at right back, I'll go with a 6. I thought Neville was solid, but didn't have as much of a standout game as perhaps the other players, but still a good performance. Evelina Summerlin, I'll go with a 7. I think Summerlin's always a quality player. She links up play in midfield really well, and had another good game. Drew Spence, I'll go with a 9. I thought Drew Spence's passing was superb. I thought she ran the midfield, and ultimately she got the assist for the goal for the winner for Olivia Holt, which was just fantastic. To be able to play that ball almost blind and play it through to Olivia Holt was quality when we needed it. Olivia Holt, I'll go with a 9 as well. Regardless of if Holt gets a goal contribution or not, I just think she always runs the game. She just always has this ability to pick up the ball and run, and that's one of her biggest qualities. She's so confident on the ball, and to have the composure to score and put the ball in the net in the last minute was amazing. Jess Naz on the right wing, I'll go with a 6. I think on the whole, Spurs' wingers this season haven't been as effective as we would have liked. A lack of goal contributions from both Naz and Vinberg this season, but that's been picked up by players like Beth England, Katinka Thunberg and Olivia Holt. But there was one moment that Jess Naz had where she was down the right. She did make some good runs. She put a cross in, and I think it may have deflected onto the post and gone along the goal line, and no one was there to tap it in. So that was probably her best moment. Okay, I'm just going to interject quickly because I finished filming this video about a minute ago, checked my phone, and Spurs did just announce that Jess Naz has done her ACL, which is absolutely gutting. It did look bad when she went down, and I'm gutted to hear that she's done her ACL. That's now Jess Naz, Ella Morris and Maite Aurora's 3 Spurs players out with ACL injuries at the moment. Wishing Jess Naz a speedy recovery. It'll be gutted to not have her in the squad for the foreseeable, I'm guessing for the rest of the season and potentially more. Wishing her a speedy recovery. Beth England, I'll go with an 8. I thought Beth England was relentless the whole game. Her pressing is absolutely fantastic, and her tenacity paid off with the goal, the equaliser on 84 minutes. And finally, Matilda Vinberg, I'll go with a 6. Again, didn't think she was as effective as she could have been. Nothing stand out from Vinberg, but a good performance. Those are my player ratings for Spurs v Aston Villa. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you are new to Harry's channel, please subscribe. If you want more Spurs Women content, please watch my content on Harry's channel or go over to my Twitter at JacobBurn14. There is one more WSL game before a long winter break. So I will be back to preview Spurs' fixture on the weekend against Man United, and I will see you soon.